We all know the name Jeff Bezos, right? But the journey? Wow. That's a whole other story. It's a story about massive risks, a really dusty garage, and a single kind of crazy idea that built an empire. So let's get into it. Yeah, you guessed it. That person is Jeff Bezos. And the gap between that boy sleeping on the floor and the man who runs one of the biggest companies on the planet, well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. I mean, how does that even happen? It all starts with a childhood dream that, trust me, looked nothing like anyone else's. Okay, so let's rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, because long before there was an Amazon, there was just Jeff, a kid with let's call it a unique fascination. You know, while most kids were outside playing, Jeff was inside his parents' garage. He was the kid taking everything apart, trying to figure out how it all worked, and then putting it back together again. This wasn't just some hobby, it was how he learned. And right there, in that cluttered space, this massive ambition started to grow. He wanted to build something that would change everything. That garage, it wasn't just a garage. It was basically his first lab. Okay, fast forward a few years. That kid from the garage, he's now a Princeton grad and he's standing at a crossroads. He's about to make a choice that will literally define the rest of his life. I mean, by any normal standard, he had already made it. A cushy job on Wall Street, a huge salary, a future that was completely mapped out for him. He had the success that everybody chases. But that old dream, the one born in the garage, it just wouldn't leave him alone. And this slide, it just lays it out perfectly. This was his choice back in 1994. Look on the left, that's the safe path, the guaranteed success of Wall Street. And then you look on the right, and it's a total leap into the dark. He'd have to give up everything for this wild idea about selling books on this brand new thing called the internet. And that's pretty much what people thought. To his colleagues, his friends, his bosses, leaving a job like that for a dream, it seemed like absolute madness. He was basically throwing away a golden ticket for what looked like a lottery ticket with zero chance of winning. But here's the thing. He did it. He took that crazy risk. And that one decision led him right back to where it all began for him. A garage. So he started Amazon. And let me tell you, it was anything but glamorous. He and his wife drove clear across the country, set up a makeshift office in some cold garage, and Jeff himself, he was the one packing the very first orders. Forget about a fancy corner office. He was the guy on the floor taping up boxes. And this right here, this is legendary. This image totally captures the spirit of early Amazon. They were so unbelievably frugal that they built their first desks out of cheap wooden doors. And this wasn't just about saving a few bucks. It was a core philosophy. Be resourceful, be scrappy, and put every single dollar toward what actually mattered, the customer. But all that hard work and hustle didn't equal instant profit. Nope. In fact, Amazon lost money in its first year, and then it lost even more money in its second year. Now, to the outside world, this looked like a total disaster, but Bezos had a plan, and he was just getting started. Just as things were finally starting to get some traction, something happened. An event that threatened to wipe out not just Amazon, but the entire online industry. In the year 2000, the dot-com bubble, well, it burst. Big time. The market for internet companies completely collapsed. Investors were panicking, and companies that were worth billions one day were totally bankrupt the next. Amazon was caught right in the middle of this storm and was on the absolute brink of going under. And this was the consensus. This is what everyone was saying. The experts, the media, the Wall Street analysts, they were all saying the same thing. The party was over, and Amazon was just another casualty of the crash. It really seemed like all those people who called him crazy back in '94 were about to be proven right. But Bezos didn't panic. While the world was crumbling around him, his response was to double down. He told everyone, "We are in it for the long haul." I mean, what a bold thing to say. But how exactly did they pull through? Well, it all came down to a single guiding principle, a choice that seemed completely backwards at a time when all that mattered was showing a profit just to stay alive. And here it is. This is the key. At a time when every other company was desperately trying to make a profit, Bezos did the exact opposite. He obsessed over the customer. Lower prices, faster shipping, more selection. His bet was actually pretty simple. He understood that on the internet, people would stay loyal to a great experience. If you make the customers happy, the money will eventually follow. It was a radical idea in the middle of a crisis. And that bet, Wow. It paid off in a way that nobody, and I mean nobody, could have imagined. By focusing on the customer, Amazon didn't just survive the crash, it came out stronger than ever before. And that single decision, made right in the heart of that dot-com firestorm, is the foundation of the Amazon we all know today. It's living proof that betting on your customer, even when it's painful and costs you money in the short term, might just be the most powerful business strategy of all. The money is, of course, staggering, but the real story here isn't about the billions. It's about that moment back in 1994. It's about having the courage to trade a safe, predictable life for a crazy idea in a garage. That was the real victory. That courage to play the long game, to focus on a big win way down the road instead of what people think today, that's the heart of this entire story. And it brings us to the final and maybe most important takeaway. So here's the final thought. Every single idea that has ever changed the world sounded a little bit crazy at first. The story of Jeff Bezos is just a reminder that when you really believe in your vision, the laughter is just background noise. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe the biggest risk you can ever take is not taking one at all.